Welcome back to the IdahoSports.com state baseball tournament preview special. My name is Brandon Baney, and okay, I was going to say, where's Will Kingsbury at?
I don't know. I just asked him. I talked to him like literally an hour ago.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's all right.
He's my damn kids. I can say that, right?
Yeah, you can say that. Well, this is fine. I will be broadcasting the 1A state baseball tournament from Churchfield in Lewiston, along with Will Kingsbury. Paul as a stand-in for
if he shows up. If he actually shows up at the tournament, we'll see.
I'm glad you hopped back on because I was like, I could carry the segment myself, but it's not really fun. I'm not Colin Cowherd here. I can't just.
I hear you.
Talk by myself for 10 minutes. So without further ado, let's remind all our fans, if you want to give your favorite team, your favorite player, a shout out, you want to ask us a question, you can throw it in the comments. We will throw it up on the screen. And as you're watching this on the IdahoSports.com YouTube channel, Facebook page, or Twitter account, if you could hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, retweet, share it. That helps everybody who couldn't be here live tonight catch it tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, etc. So, all right, let's put the 1A bracket up on the screen, Paul. This is pretty easy to break down here. There's only two districts, right? District 2, the White Pine League, or the North. And then there is District 3, the Western Idaho Conference, or the South. And so basically the top 4 from each district get to go to state. And so the seeds from the North don't match how the regular season standings shook out. Clearwater Valley actually won what is believed to be the first White Pine title in school history earlier this year, but they fell to Troy in a very high-scoring championship game on Saturday night. So Clearwater Valley will be the 2 seed from the North. Troy will be the 1 seed. Troy is the defending champions in this bracket, and they came into districts as the 4 seed. So they kind of flip-flopped it. After that, you've got Potlatch as the number 3 seed out of the North. They actually were the 5 seed coming into districts. I think Troy was the 3 and Potlatch was the 5. And then Prairie, who took second in the regular season standings, they come in with the number 4 seed. Down south, a little more chalk. Your regular season champion is also your number 1 seed, Vision Charter. Same with number 2 at Glens Ferry. Horseshoe Bend took 4th in the regular season. Idaho City took 3rd. They flip-flop here. Horseshoe Bend will carry the 3 seed. Idaho City will carry the 4. And so when I look at this bracket, Paul, right away, it looks like Troy is right where they belong as that number 1 seed from the North, the defending champions. They had a great regular season. They lost a couple of close games. The White Pine League this year was very, very competitive with those 4 teams that are at state plus Kendrick, who didn't make it. And there was a lot of tight, like 1-run, extra inning type of games. And so that to me is the question is which one of these White Pine teams is best equipped to go on a run here at state? So.
And Kendrick was on a roll, going into districts, from May, they played Potlatch 3 times, beat him twice, lost 0-3 in that last one. Beat Genesee 15-0 in the game before that. So, Kendrick has got to be just kicking themselves that they're not in this thing right now. They had every chance to, and Potlatch just came up as the spoiler there at the end and beat them. But Troy, you're right. Troy's sitting right where they need to be. Clearwater Valley is always fun. Alan Hutchins, great to work with up there at Clearwater Valley. Prairie. Hey, it's state tournament time. Yeah, Prairie's here. That's just kind of how it works out, any tournament. So watching those teams in the White Pine, it's really the Civil War of Idaho, Brandon. It's the North versus the South is when it comes into this. And it's always fun to watch and see because really it comes down to, one team's going to get the championship trophy, but all anybody remembers really is, the North won it 3 times in a row. The South, they haven't won this and it's always North and South when they're talking about it in generalities in those circles.
And along those lines, this thing has not been won by the South for a very, very long time. In fact, back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, they used to make A4 and A3 play together. So you would have Prairie and Firth and Melba all at the same state tournament. And then finally in 1998, they split up and said, okay, A4, you can have your own state tournament. That very first year, And it's Jesse Toblas gives a shout out here. Vision Charter School baseball and softball. Yes, we will talk about the Eagles in just a moment. But historically, 1998, the first year that the 1As basically got their own state tournament, it was won by a team from the South. And we'll see if anybody can answer that in the comments. Which school was it? Because guess what, Paul? Since then, a team from the North has won every single year. Nobody from the South has won since the very first one in 1998. And
that was a long time ago.
Yes.
What grade were you in 98?
I was a fourth grader.
My first child was born in 1998, and she's 26. So, yeah, that's a long time ago.
Yeah, I'll reveal the answer at the end of the preview segment, which school that was. And maybe if somebody knows, you can put it in the comments with the answer. But, I mean, so it's basically a foregone conclusion, right? The White Pine. In fact, last year, the North went 4-0 against the South in the opening round at state. Like, it was literally an all District 2 semifinals. And so the question is, can somebody from the South finally break through? You know, North Star Charter did get to the championship game 2 years ago, but they're gone. They're a 2A school now. In fact, of those 4 teams that are from the South, only one of them was at state last year, Glens Ferry. The other 3 are brand new, including, for the first time in school history, Vision Charter and Idaho City. Now, those are both fairly new programs, but this is an exciting accomplishment for the community of Idaho City and also the folks of Vision Charter.
Oh, absolutely. You know, and we saw that, you know, the fan from Vision Charter come on here. You know, and Vision Charter was, you know, 2A up there, and it seems like the 2A WIC became very private school heavy over the last 3-4 years. And great, you know, there's always new schools coming on, and you know, kids get a great education, and if they can get sports, that allows their kids to, you know, play some extracurriculars. So they got bumped down with 1A, and that's a tough conference. It's a big conference for them to play in as well. You know, you've got perennials, you know, the Idaho Cities, the Glens Ferries. What a great program Glens Ferry has. You know, Martinez there has been there forever and done a great job. And, you know, I don't think he's going anywhere, but, you know, they have a great program in all those. Horseshoe Bend, same thing, which makes that accomplishment for the North to win for so many times. It means they're very, very good. I mean, because the South is very good. So that North is, you know, they're right there next to each other. So yeah, it's a shame a lot of those teams weren't able to come in. It was nice to see Lighthouse kind of came in as an independent, had a chance to go to state, didn't quite make it, but I like seeing the inclusivity with bringing Lighthouse in and giving them a chance. Yeah,
and so Horseshoe Bend made state 2 years ago, and they had basically borrowed a couple of players from Garden Valley. Garden Valley didn't have enough players to have their own team, so you know, Kobe Kelly and Gillespie kind of came over and played with Horseshoe Bend, and now Garden Valley has enough kids for their own team, and they almost made it to state and didn't quite. So for Horseshoe Bend to lose that pipeline and find a way to get, and they, you know, battled all regular season, they had ups and downs, and for them to find a way to get back to state, Coach Longacre has done a phenomenal job, and I do think Horseshoe Bend is kind of a sneaky team for sure. There's Will Kingsbury. He's the guy that I'm going to be doing the games with. Will, what's going on?
Nothing much. But where are we in the preview right now?
You know what? I'm going to throw the bracket up.
Yeah.
Let's put that bracket up on the screen, Paul. Will, when you look at this bracket, what is the very first thing that jumps out to you?
It's definitely going to be that Troy team at the top. They're kind of dominating the entire state right now in terms. We saw them go against number 2 Clearwater recently, and they won 20-8. And so you're going to have that Troy team that are kind of the main objective here for other teams to beat. And then you also have Clearwater Valley, of course, against number 3 Horseshoe Bend. A lot of these are kind of give and take, but then you have power teams like Troy. And so I'm excited to see how these play out, especially along the 2 and 3 games, because those should be fun to watch.
Yeah, I think Horseshoe Bend Clearwater Valley could be the most intriguing matchup of the first round, and it comes at the end, which is good. So we're, you know, that's you always want your good games at nighttime at the end.
Yeah, right.
And again, these will be at Church Field in Lewiston. You know, I do think the one team that could break through from the South and at least get to the semifinals, which again, they got skunked last year, I think is Vision Charter, the number one team. They are a menace on the base paths. They have two different players that are in the 30 to 40 stolen base range this year, which in high school is insane. They had between Klein and Lake and Wilson this year, there was a game where they each stole 7 bases in the same game. I mean, so this is a Vision Charter team that's going to get on base and then they're going to run wild. Now, the White Pine League is used to that. Maybe some of the teams in Vision's conference aren't used to that yet because they're all such new programs, Gem State and Garden Valley. The White Pine's established. They're going to be ready for it. And so can Vision run enough to manufacture some offense to get through? Because I do think outside of the first wave of pitching, I think it drops off precipitously. And it's not a commentary on the 1A schools this year. It's a commentary on 1A baseball in general, right, Paul? It's hard to get athletes at the smallest level. And if you have two really good pitchers like Troy did last year and has this year in Eli Stoner and Dominic Holden, I mean, that is a huge leg up.
I'm sorry. I was looking up the definition of precipitously. You're using big words here.
Oh.
No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Yeah, no, that's true. You know, and we kind of mentioned it in the 2A preview that your athletes are your athletes at these schools. And once you get your athletes playing football, playing basketball, wrestling, running track, whatever, and a lot of these we do see probably not as much as we used to, where you're running track and you're playing baseball. You're playing baseball and running, or softball, running track, because you can do both. It's doable.
Not this year. Not with state baseball in Lewiston and state track in Boise. That ain't
correct.
happening.
Correct. But I have seen a lot of, and sometimes they just do it. And then if they make state in one, they go in ahead of time and say, if I make state and track, sorry, I'm out. But your athletes are your athletes. And when you've got your good ones at your school, and especially a small school, it's cyclical. And some years you're just not going to have anybody. It's not like you've got hundreds of kids moving in and out every year. You can see what you're going to have from 4th, 5th grade on and go, boy, I can't wait for 8 years when that kid's 17. It's you don't do that in a 5A school because you have no clue about the thousands of kids in middle schools. But these small schools, yeah, you just walk the halls of the elementary school or out on the playground and go, that kid could throw. Yeah, let's go talk to him. And that's just the way it is. And you get these kids playing at an early age in the little leagues, bring them up and go from there and hope for the best.
Yeah, let's take a look at our 1A players to watch. I selected one player from each team, not a comprehensive list by any stretch of the imagination. So Landon Schleifer from Clearwater Valley, one of 3 sets of siblings. His sibling Leighton Schleifer also plays. There's also the Fabbies. Landon Mills from Glens Ferry has been one of their best guys on the mound. Zeke Ochoa from Horseshoe Bend. He's made our primetime pitchers list a couple of times this year on IdahoSports.com. Gabe Goodman from Idaho City. Big power bat for the Wildcats. Really the focal point of their offense. Waylon Marshall from Potlatch. Cody Cashmitter from Prairie. Lakin Wilson, the speed demon from Vision Charter. And then Dominic Holden, probably the best pitcher overall in this field from Troy. Will, when you look at this list of 8 guys, which one are you most excited to see in person?
So I'm just going to kind of bandwagon off Troy again here, as I'm excited to watch Holden. I mean, if you look at
Will is a Troy fan. I said Will is definitely a Troy fan.
Well, just looking at their scores and everything, they definitely look like the best horse to bet on. But at the same time, there's always upsets, which I'm sure that we will have a couple during the tournament, and that's just how tournaments go.
Yep, their AD, James Stoner, is a great guy. He's been there a long time, had kids go through there. Great guy. I hate standing next to him because he's about two feet taller than I am, but James Stoner, if you're watching, good friend of the program up there.
Yeah, for sure. Another shout out for Vision Charter, Peyton Williams, number 11 for Vision Charter School. That's from Jesse Toblas. Yes, Dominic Holden and Gary Jones says, yep, Glens Ferry. He's a big Glens Ferry fan. And the Pilots, like we said, they're the most consistent program from the South. You can pretty much bookmark it every year. They're going to be at state. They've always got a lot of good athletes. Pitching depth this year stacks up pretty well. So Glens Ferry, if they can get out of the first round, I think could be set up well. And then I think you also look at that list of players to watch again. And Holden, we talked about, that was the guy Will was most excited to see. He has given up this year like 3 earned runs in like almost 50 innings of work. I mean, it's just ridiculous. He's just been so good. And so my question is when do they throw Dominic Holden? Do they go with Eli Stoner first? Do they try and play in Idaho City, their first time ever at state? Do they throw their number 3 guy? That's going to be an interesting strategy question for Troy. And their new head coach, by the way, Tyler Strunk. He's a first-year head coach. So we don't know. We can't say historically he does this because we don't know. We'll find out. The guy I'm most excited to watch on that players to watch list is Zeke Ochoa from Horseshoe Bend. He has put up some ridiculous pitching lines this year. And so Scott Burton talked about this a little bit on the 4A state tournament preview with Nolan Hardesty from Twin Falls. The numbers are great. Now, some of those games did come against teams that were, maybe not as good this year. And I think some of Zeke Ochoa's performances came that way as well. So I'm excited to see what he does here at state against the best of the best, because I think he can deliver. I think he and Horseshoe Bend are very quietly lingering. And so that's the guy I'm most excited to see. Gary says Glenn's Ferry was his guess at the last team from the South that won it all. Yeah. So Will, you were late to the thing, but basically, up until 1998, the A4 schools or 1A had to play with the A3 or 2A schools at state. They had to combine. In 1998, they split them off and said, okay, you small schools can have your own state tournament. A team from the South won it that very first year in 1998. A team from the South has not won since. And so the question is, which school was it that won from the South? It was not Glenn's Ferry, Gary. I know Glenn's Ferry has had a good baseball program. I think they were actually at the 2A level once upon a time. So I don't know that they've been a 1A that long. Lupe says Jesus Ortiz, number 3 from Glenn's Ferry. Yes, for sure. And Michelle and Dan Fabi, of course, Clearwater Valley, go Rams. I'm excited to watch Louis Fabi and Jake Fabi compete for the Rams. So it's not Glenn's Ferry. Do you guys, either of you, have a guess as to which school it was? The 1A, or what was called the A4 baseball championship in 1998. Will, do you have a guess?
Are they 1A now?
Yes.
It was a South team.
Yep. Team from the South. Team from District 3.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm going to, can I guess?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to guess. I've got 2. Can I guess 2?
Yeah, maybe you'll get it right on the first one.
I've got Wilder or Idaho City, but I think Idaho City is my first choice, and then Wilder is my second.
Okay. Idaho City, bad choice, Paul, because I literally just said earlier in this prepcast, this is their first trip to state in school history.
Oh, I didn't hear school history. I thought recent history.
They only had a baseball program for the first time 2 years ago. It was like the first.
Idaho Sports should have done an article on that.
Yeah, that was like the first article I wrote for IdahoSports.com. So nicely done.
I like it better and better.
Wilder, not a bad guess, but also incorrect. The answer is Greenleaf Friends Academy. They beat Kendrick in the championship in 1998, and then Kendrick won 3 in a row.
Okay, so they're playing with Gem State though in baseball.
And they're still a 1A.
You kind of threw me off there as I'm looking at my list of 1A baseball teams. Trick question. I'm going to give it to you.
I don't know.
You win. You win.
Greenleaf Friends, the answer. So will someone from the South win this year for the first time since 1998? We will find out this Wednesday through Friday at Church Field in Lewiston. Myself and Will the Thrill will be on the call on IdahoSports.com. All right. Big thanks to everybody that tuned in tonight for our state tournament preview special. This will be archived. You can go back and watch this on the IdahoSports.com YouTube channel, Twitter account, or Facebook page in case you weren't able to be here live tonight. If you were here live tonight, if you could hit that like button and share this, people will be able to find it a little easier on their platform of choice. But Paul, here we are, state baseball time. It's the last big event we do for the school year here at IdahoSports.com.
It's crazy. The school year has gone by so stinking fast. And then, we're going to take a little bit of a break after the tournaments, but it's right back into planning for next year. But keep in mind that this weekend for the state tournaments, we'll have updated softball brackets. And of course, with baseball, we'll have updated brackets there. We'll have broadcasts of every state baseball game, video broadcasts of all the state baseball games, 5A through 1A. So make sure you keep checking back updated scores. Follow us, especially on Instagram, as we'll be posting player of the game stories presented by the Shift Initiative from the Idaho Transportation Department. So make sure you follow us on social media to pick up final scores, players of the game, all that good stuff. And I believe we're going to be coming out with our all tournament teams like we did with basketball after the baseball tournament. So check back in next Tuesday, Wednesday-ish. And we should have those up.
Yes, definitely. Sorry about that. I was trying to hold in that cough to the end, but couldn't do it. All right. Big thanks to all of our IdahoSports.com broadcasters for hopping on the preview show tonight. And again, the action starts Wednesday with the 1A tournament, and then everybody else jumps in on Thursday. And that'll be all at IdahoSports.com. All right. For Will Kingsbury, Paul Kingsbury, and the cast of tens here at IdahoSports.com, thanks for tuning in, everyone. We'll see you next time.